What's going on, everybody? This is Coach Reg, aka Mr. In10sity, and my job is to invoke thought and help awaken the world's consciousness one person at a time. Hopefully that person is you. Now, this is the last day of this very short month of Black History, but I don't want you to let it stop there. Now, being that there's a lot of things that you don't know about for Black History, because the schools don't really let us know it besides 1 month out of the year, the shortest month, ironically, the shortest month out of the year, they let us know, and they let us learn other history for the rest of the year. We as Black people, or people in general, tend to not search and understand and know more about our history. Now, we really need to do that, because for our children, the more they don't know about Black history, the more they don't understand how great they are and how great they can become. We are not just actors and entertainers and athletes. We're not just that. We're so much more than what the media and the TV wants us to be. We're not ratchet. We're not hip-hop all day long. We're not saggy jeans. We're not fights. We're not shooting. We're not gangs. We're much more than that. And we have shaped America to become what it is today. We have built America, but we haven't been told about a lot of things because the powers that be hide this stuff from us. They gave us Hidden Figures, that movie and everything, but that's like one of the things. They're just giving us stuff like years and years later. But you really must educate your children on Black history, not just what the teacher tells them to do a book report on in February. You see what I'm saying? It's really important that you know about your history, but not just knowing about your history, to actually make some more history, because as you see the accomplishments of African American people, you will begin to think that you can accomplish great things as well, not just what you see on TV. You can build things, you can invent things, you can create things with your mind, because your mind is unlimited and has unlimited potential, but you have to open a book and put down a remote and understand that you can find your greatness within inside yourself, because everybody has something about themselves that is great. The problem is, we don't believe it, or we just don't know. We don't find it. We don't search for it. We blind ourselves with what TV or whatever else is going on in society want us to think is us. We are much more greater. So I want to go through some inventions that has been made by Black people that we may have not known about. All right? We're going to go into those inventions. Now, the first invention made by Otis Boynton. He was born in 1920 and died in 1982. Now, what he invented was great. It was the artificial heart pacemaker control unit. Now, why it's important, although there were variations to the pacemaker before Boynton's invention, the modern day pacemaker would not exist without his work. Basically meaning that a lot of people who need that pacemaker for their hearts, it would not exist without Mr. Boynton. So I want to say thank you to Mr. Boynton for making the pacemaker and educate your children on this stuff. Next one, Henry Brown. Now, what he invented was the modern day fireproof safe. Now, why it is important, when Henry Brown patented a receptacle for storing and preserving papers in November 2nd, 1886, this was a fire and accident safe container made of forged metal, which could be sealed with a lock and key. Anyone who has ever had important documents stored in a safe and saved in a fire can thank Mr. Brown. Meaning that if you ever want to have documents and you had that thing you buy at Walmart and you get the little key and everything, well, Mr. Brown made that for you, and you want to thank him for that, because he has made that as well. Next one, Granville T. Woods. What he invented was the multiplex telegraph. Now, why it's important, the multiplex telegraph was a device that would send messages between train stations and moving trains. Now, his work assured a safer and better public transportation system for the cities of the United States. Meaning that, these companies, these train stations could talk to each other, and without him, they could not communicate. And they evolved, obviously, to new and better things, but it started with this great man right here. Thank you very much. Next one, Gerald A. Lawson, 1940 to 2011. What he invented was the modern home video gaming console. Now, everybody who knows, who has a PlayStation or an Xbox or something like that, he has made this for you. All right, he has started this. Now, he created the first game video system that used interchangeable cartridges. Nintendo, remember Nintendo? That started with him way before. Are offering a gamer's chance to play a variety of games and giving a video game maker's way to earn profits by selling individual games, a business model that still exists today. Oh yeah, it definitely exists today, and it was made by a black man. Thank you, because a lot of people that make money off of video games for selling them or even playing them, it all started with this great man right here. Thank you very much for your contribution to America and to the world. Thank you. Next one, Patricia Bath. She's still alive. She was born in 1942. Now, what she invented was the cataract laser phaco probe. Now, why it's important, her device used an innovative method for removing cataract lenses with the laser, which is more accurate than the drill-like instruments that were common used at the time. The New York ophthalmologist invention, patented in 1988, helped save the eyesight of millions and even restored the sight of people who had been blind for more than 30 years. Alright, so this machine helps out with your eyes, and I can't even imagine them drilling in somebody's eyes with whatever they created before her. So I want to say thank you, Patricia Bath. I appreciate your contribution. Next one is Garrett Morgan. He invented the modern day gas mask. Now, why it's important, in 1916, Garrett Morgan made the national news by using his gas mask to rescue 32 men trapped during an explosion in an underground tunnel 250 feet beneath Lake Erie. His invention has saved the lives of many firemen, police, and soldiers across the world. So you see soldiers running around with the gas masks and policemen and firemen. It was because of this great man right here, Garrett Morgan. I want to thank you for your contribution. Thank you very much. All right, next one. Lonnie Johnson. What he invented was the Super Soaker. I even had this one. I had the Super Soaker. All right, he's still alive today. He was born in 1949. All right, the Super Soaker was great. It came out. I think it came out. Well, for us, it was already out. But I remember actually first getting my first Super Soaker around 1990, something like that, early 1990s, and we used to play that thing all the time. It was like the greatest thing on earth. Telling you right now, this was the truth. Let me tell you about it though. Now, why it's important, Super Soaker may have been a child's toy, but it was a great example of an invention with a multi-million-dollar impact. The Super Soaker guaranteed $200 million in annual retail sales and turned him into a millionaire. Now he's using his fortune to develop energy technology. So he didn't just stop there. He's using it to develop more technology and more technology to reshape this society to make it more advanced and more advanced. I want to say thank you, Lonnie Johnson. Thank you very much. Next one is Percy L. Julian. Now, in 1899 to 1975, that's when he was alive. That's his lifespan. He invented the process of synthesis. Now, why it's important, synthesis was critical to a medical industry as it allowed the scientists to create chemicals that were rare in nature. Chemists' work led to the birth control pill, improvements of production of cortisone. Oh my God, that's great. And in 2007, the PBS Nova series created a documentary on Julian's life called The Forgotten Genius. So if you want to, read about his life, go Google The Forgotten Genius, and you'll know everything you need to know there. I want to say thank you very much, sir. Hooray. Thank you very much for your great contribution. I really appreciate that, especially for the cortisol control. I really, really appreciate that. All right. You people should educate your kids on this stuff, because they probably think it was invented, by a white guy, and it's not. I'm not racist or nothing like that, but we need our credit as well for what we did, because we did a whole lot which people try to hide from us and from everybody. We are more than just hip hop and rap and fighting and basketball. We can be more than entertainers. Trust me, we are more than that. I'm telling you that right now. Next one. Frederick M. Jones. He was born in 1892 and died in 1961. What he invented was mobile refrigeration. His invention allowed the transportation of perishable foods such as produce meats, which changed eating habits across the country. Thermo King, the company he co-founded, became a leading manufacturer of refrigerated transportation. He also developed an air conditioning unit for military field hospitals and a refrigerator for military field kitchens. He was awarded over 60 patents during his lifetime. So he invented so many more things, but he started with the mobile refrigeration unit. Obviously, transporting meats and produce, things of that nature, would not be possible today without this great man right here. I want to say thank you very much for this. Educate your children. I'm telling you right now. Next one. George R. Carruthers, 1939, the president. What he invented was the ultraviolet camera spectrograph. The ultraviolet camera spectrograph was a device to travel to the moon in Apollo 16 in 1972. The camera, designed by the Cincinnati Navy, enabled researchers to study Earth's atmosphere, providing critical information on how the world works. Obviously, this is something they missed in Hidden Figures, but he was very important with this as well, especially in the Apollo missions. I want to say thank you very much, sir, because you definitely were overlooked, and nobody probably even knows about you. All right. Next one, Charles Richard Drew, 1904 to 1950. He had a short life. What he invented was the blood bank. Why it's important? His research in the field of blood transfusions led to the development of improved techniques for blood storage. He applied his expert knowledge to the development of a large-scale blood banks early in World War II. Now, his invention allowed medics to save thousands of Allied forces. He directed the blood plasma programs of the United States and Great Britain in World War II, but resigned after ruling that the blood from African Americans would be segregated. So they wouldn't use. They thought that whites were better than blacks back then. Now, if you know anything about black history or black culture or black people, or as a human being when it comes to science, blacks genetics have actually dominant genes because everybody, you might disagree with me, but you want to do your research, but everybody came from Africa. Everybody originated from Africa. I don't care if you're white, black, Asian, Chinese, Spanish, everybody came from Africa. You know, blacks have a dominant gene. That's why when you have a baby with a black person, if you're white or if you're anything else, the black gene will always show up 100% because blacks are a dominant gene. But back then they didn't know this stuff. So being that they didn't know this stuff, they pretty much said this black blood is worse than white blood, so we're going to put this over here for black people. Because we ain't gonna get no black blood to white people. We ain't doing that. So he resigned because he realized they was doing some BS and he wasn't having that, so he quit. All right. Next one, Alexander Miles, 1838 to 1918. What he invented was the modern day elevator design. Why it's important, though, is although Miles may have not invented the first elevator, his design was very important. He improved the method of opening and closing elevator doors, and he developed the closing of the elevator shaft when the elevator was not positioned at the floor. Miles created an automatic mechanism that crossed access to the shaft. His patent is still used for most elevators today because they work under the basic principle of automated opening and closing doors. His life and his invention helped to break down racial barriers in many ways. Because what hotel you ever been in? Hotel, not motel, hotel that doesn't have an elevator. What big building have you been in that does not have an elevator? All right. So his design made it a lot easier for people to move up and down the elevator with the opening and closing doors and the shaft and everything like that. You want to thank this man. I will thank you today because I know you were overlooked and they don't talk about you enough. All right. Next one, James E. West. What he invented was the electroacoustic transducer electric microphone. All right. Now, why it's important is without James West, rappers like Kanye, 50 Cent, Jay-Z would not be able to spit their rhymes on this mic. Now, West, along with Gerald, M. Seltzer, helped develop the electroacoustic transducer microphone, for which they received a patent in 1962. Their invention was acoustically accurate, lightweight, and cost-effective. 90% of microphones in use today, including those in telephones, tape recorders, and camcorders, are based on those original concept. So the microphone that you have in your phone and microphones that you record on and whatever, it was based off of this. We want to thank these men for this. We appreciate this very, very much because without you being able to record the way we were able to record. Thank you very much, sirs. Definitely. Next one, Arthur Zhang. What he invented was the cardio pad. Why it's important, though, the 24-year-old Cameroonian engineer invented the cardio pad, a touchscreen medical tablet that inhibits heart examinations such as the electrocardiogram, so you might have heard of ECG, to be performed at remote, rural locations while results of the test are transferred wirelessly to specialists who can interpret them. The device spares African patients living in remote areas of having to travel to urban centers to seek medical examination. So it pretty much has you working smart, not working hard. Thank you, sir. We definitely appreciate that. Now, let's get into a more important thing that you probably didn't know. You know, back then when slaves invented something, the master of the slave usually always tried to take his patent. Alright, now they invented a lot of things, and I'm going to go over a few things they invented. Some of them received some credit, but none of them received an actual patent on their original invention. Alright, so I want you to really understand. Now, the thing is, the Patent Act of 1793 and 1836 prohibited enslaved African Americans from obtaining patents because black people were not citizens and were excluded from all liberties. However, 5 years after the Civil War, in 1870, the U.S. government, granted all inventors rights to their inventions, but for many, that was too little, too late. People had already done a lot of things, and they had not given them credit, and they were not going to give them credit, but we found out anyway who they were. Let's give them some credit right now, and share this word with your family, friends, kids, especially the children, so they don't even know their greatness. All they want to do is be a basketball player, or a football player, or some athlete, or a rapper. They don't understand they can be greater than that. They can be a doctor, they can invent something, they can create something new that nobody's ever heard of. Their minds are greater than ours could ever be because they're the evolution of us, which is why they can adapt so well to the computers and TVs and touchscreens, because this is the age they grew up in. So let them understand their greatness so they can be great, alright? Seriously. I let my kids watch maybe a half an hour of TV each week, if that, alright? Or read. They got TV in their room, they got cable, but they barely even watch it. Now they don't even ask to watch TV. They like to be outside. I like to get my kids outside in nature. The more they're outside in nature, the more they become one, and the more their minds start opening up. I'm telling you right now, seriously. Alright, let's start with Benjamin Montgomery. Invented the steam propeller, operated propeller. Now, as an enslaved man running a shipping operation for a general store, he noticed the inefficiencies in the waterway shipping process. Then he invented a propeller that could easily cut through water at different angles, alright? That will allow the boat to navigate through shallow waters, alright? That is love. So he didn't get his credit, but we're giving him his credit today. Share this right now with your friends, family, or everything. Just take one. I don't care if you take one out of what I'm saying. Just remember it. That means I did my job of sharing the word, because we are a great people. Even if you're white, share it with your kids, because here's the thing. A lot of racism comes from not knowing that African Americans are more than what TV says they are. So if you're a white person, you've never met an African American person, but you watch a lot of TV, you're going to think that we're everything the TV says we are, but we're not. We're so much more. And if you tell your children, that these African Americans have done great things, they'll understand they'll see this in a different light. This is going to slowly stop racism from the younger generation that don't even know. They're actually taught by the people who are, teaching them or living by them, from the hatred of black people, and the kids see the parents are hating black people, so they say, well, I'm going to hate them too, because mommy hated them, because they want to be like mommy or daddy. So, really, if you're white, Spanish, or whatever, teach your children about African Americans, because we're highly overlooked and highly disrespected. But it's largely because we disrespect ourselves and we don't govern our own minds, and that makes us an easy target. All right, we've always been targeted because we're obviously you know why we've been targeted. All right, so now you got to educate, because we have to uplift each other. I'm telling you right now, as a community, as a country, as a world. All right, we must do this for the next generation so they can be better than we were and our past was. Because every time it's supposed to get better, we're supposed to evolve. All right, we're not supposed to devolve. So really, I want you to really do that. All right, next one. Henry Boyd. He invented the corded bed. He was an inventor, a carpenter, a master mechanic. With a wooden rail screwed into both headboard and footboard, although he was unable to patent his original invention, he was able to earn money to buy his freedom, and then he obtained the patent and became one of the most successful furniture makers in Ohio. So even though he didn't get a patent for that, he used the money, took that, bought his freedom, and did great things after that. Great job, sir. Definitely by way of using your mind to get out of the situation that you were in and to create wealth out of that. Definitely great job. Next one. Benjamin Bradley. He created the steam engine. Alright, so them locomotives that have the steam coming out of them? He created the steam engine, which obviously evolved to the trains. Alright? Now he began experimenting with discarded scrap metal, which eventually led to him to building a steam engine, and earned a job at Indianapolis Academy, which is the United States Naval Academy. Alright, so he used that, and he got into the United States Naval Academy. It's called Indianapolis Academy. Alright, so he used that and he evolved, and even though he didn't get the patent for it, he got other things as well, opportunities and things of that nature. So he used it and became better because of it. So even if they block you, use that and uplift yourself anyway. Find it. You just don't quit. Redirect yourself to greatness like he did. All right, next one. Ned. He was a cotton scrapper. Now, we don't know his last name. He was a cotton scrapper. And what he did was invent the cotton scraper. It's like a plow that pulls up cotton from the ground. Makes it a lot easier to get the cotton. Like the plow you see on the back of horses, things of that nature. Now, he didn't get his credit, but, his enslaver, tried to get the patent. But his enslaver was denied for the patent. Now, being that that was a simple fact, Ned still received, praise for it anyway. So even though his enslaver didn't, get the credit for it, Ned still received praise for it because everybody know what he did, as now you do. We don't have his picture. We only know his first name. That was his name. All right. So the next one, Joe Anderson. Now, Cyrus McCormick was considered to be the father of agriculture for revolutionizing the farming industry with the mechanical reaper. But what you didn't know is that Joe Anderson had as much to do with the invention as Cyrus McCormick. You see a lot of McCormick stuff on a lot of stuff, right? As you see, this is one more thing that was hidden from us in history. And last but not least, African American slaves in Nova Scotia invented hockey. Yes, hockey. Now today, as we know, as a white-dominated sport, it was invented by black slaves who did not receive the credit and flipped. Yes, hockey did come from Canada, but it came from black slaves. So here's the thing: if you don't know your history, you don't know who you are. And take it further back than slavery, because we were a great civilization before even that. Even slavery ever existed. We ruled. All right. So the pharaohs and King Tut and all this stuff. Even though people say we're Israelites and whatever, this black is black. All right. I don't care what we were, because we're not that anymore. Right. We're living in America, we're living wherever we're living, and we're not the great people that we once were. So it doesn't matter if we're Israelites or we're Egyptians. I don't care about that. All I care about is becoming greater after the point. Now we know what we were. What are we going to do about it? Where are we going to go with it? What are we going to use to become greater? How are we going to use our knowledge to enrich our society instead of complaining about things? You got to make a change in it. You know what I mean? I mean, protest with a plan. If you protest without a plan, or complain without a plan, it's only complaining. All right, and that's what they want you to do. They want you to protest. They want you to complain without a plan. A plan needs to be implemented and done. Everybody complains. Everybody watches TV. Everybody worries and scared about the wrong stuff. But I can guarantee you, they're scared of you because they know your greatness. They know your greatness, but they know you don't know your greatness. They know your kids don't know their greatness. And as long as you allow yourself to be, blindfolded by what's going on around you in society and concentrate on everything else besides your greatness within inside yourself, then you will never become great for the next society, and you're already setting your next generation up for failure. And the cycle is going to compete and repeat and repeat and repeat. All right? It's Black History Month, but it should be Black History Year. Every single year, every day. No one learns something about your history. And the more you learn, the more you become awakened to the truth of what's really going on. And you'll start to understand why things are happening the way they're happening. I'm telling you right now. All right? So govern your minds. Govern your children's minds, because that's the next generation. If your parents didn't do it, you do it. I'm telling you right now. 20 minutes a day, teach yourself something new. And 5 minutes a day, teach your kids something new, and quiz them the day after that. What I do is I quiz my kids. I give my kids a little bit of knowledge every day, something small, and I quiz them the next day on it. What'd you learn yesterday? And it'll be in their minds. As they're younger, their minds are like sponges, and whatever they see or hear, they take it in. All right, and they become that. They start seeing themselves as that. So if you start feeding them with knowledge that they're great, that they once were great, and that if they can be greater, they're going to believe they can be more than what they see on TV. Because they can be so much more than that. So much more. And so can you. So besides that, this is Coach Reg. My job is to invoke thought and help awaken the world's consciousness one person at a time. Hopefully, that person is you.
It has been said that I have two alternatives. Either go to jail or go to the army. But I would like to say that there is another alternative. And that alternative is justice.